The release of Mortal Kombat 11 is fast approaching, so I thought this would be a cool opportunity to maybe fill in some gaps and play some of the spin-off games that I've actually never played before. So I decided to check out Mortal Kombat Sub Zero Mythologies. Unfortunately.
Grandmaster, in honor of the Lin Kuei, I bring you this sacred map of elements.
Now let's be clear, Mortal Kombat Sub Zero Mythologies, not exactly known for being a very good game. Didn't have the best reputation, but I wanted to go in with a clean palette, a clean slate, with no preconceived notions of if this game's good or bad, and this game's really bad. I wanted to do like a playthrough, like a let's play kind of video of this game on my channel. I sat down, I started recording, and I just couldn't do it, man. This is like one of the very few times I've ever canceled a recording mid-game and I'm just like, fuck this, it's not worth it, we're not doing this. It takes a lot for me to stop a recording of a playthrough like that. Like, it was really rough, man. First, let's talk about the gameplay. Mortal Kombat Sub Zero Mythologies is a 2D platformer brawler, and they're using a lot of the mechanics from the fighting game. A lot of it feels like the fighting game, albeit a much worse version of the fighting game. And then there's the platforming. First of all, you need to press up to jump, much like the fighting games. In a fighting game, pressing up to jump, totally fine. That gives you more buttons for attacks. But in a platformer, you really want a dedicated jump button. It just feels so unnatural not to have a jump button and just press up in a platforming, especially some of these platforming sequences are super tight and require really good timing and reactions. Having no dedicated jump button is a major sin when it comes to platforming, but even if you can get over that hurdle of having no dedicated jump button, you're still gonna die a crapload through trial and error. Most of your deaths in this game are not gonna come from the enemies, no, they're gonna come from a lot of these one-hit kill environmental hazards, whether it's falling off of a ledge or having a boulder dropped on your head. And the camera is so super zoomed in to Sub-Zero right up in his ass, man, that you can't see 3 feet in front of you. On the bright side, some of the death animations are actually kind of amusing, so I hope you like seeing the same ones over and over and over again. So the platforming is ass. But okay, this is Mortal Kombat. How's the combat? This is based on a fighting game. It should at least have really good combat, right? Its combat is way worse than the fighting games. Even when you reach like the end of a level, the game basically turns into a match of Mortal Kombat and you'll fight like a boss. At the end of the first level, for instance, you're fighting Scorpion at the very end and he has his own health bar, but it's just a much clunkier, much worse playing version of the fighting games. And one of the biggest problems I have, in order to turn your character around to face the other direction, it requires a button press. A button press. I guess it makes sense because, you know, maybe some of the special move inputs will screw up your direction, but it just feels so clunky. No other game have I ever played requires a button press to face the other direction. This game basically requires that you relearn how to play video games. And some of these AI fights, you know, they do come with some typical Mortal Kombat problems, such as reading your inputs, you know, countering an uppercut immediately with an uppercut of their own. That shit happens a lot in this game. So okay, the game doesn't play good, or okay, it plays like ass. Maybe it's about the story. You know, this is Sub-Zero Mythologies after all. Maybe we'll learn some story on Sub-Zero.
Wind, water, and fire. With your mastery of the element of cold, you have an advantage that no other human has, and that is the ability to defeat the elements. I have foreseen this.
One thing I will say about Mortal Kombat, kind of like as a series as a whole, is it has a really good story mode. I think the story in Mortal Kombat is probably amongst the best in any other fighting game series out there. I think the world and kind of like the lore behind everything is actually pretty interesting and very unique. So having a mythology game like this, I think, makes a ton of sense, and I'm genuinely interested in what kind of stories they have to tell. Except when it's told extremely poorly like this.
It was tipped off. He knew I was breaking into that temple, and if he wasn't there, there wouldn't have been a battle. You are responsible for this, sorcerer.
They have like these live-action, cheesy-ass cutscenes, and don't get me wrong, I love live-action cheese. I am all about that shit. And these cutscenes are on a whole other level. It's like the costumes, the acting, even like the choreography of like when two characters are just talking to each other, they're just circling each other. It just looks so awkward. And just like the line delivery of the acting, they're really hamming it up. And again, these costumes, the makeup, Quan Chi's makeup, like I couldn't even pay attention to what was happening just because I couldn't believe what I was witnessing on the screen. What is this? I think there's so much room in the Mortal Kombat universe to tell stories and do some spin-off games like this. And they have done other spin-off games other than Sub Zero Mythologies. Thank God, like Shaolin Monks. I love Shaolin Monks. It's so good. And clearly, I think Mortal Kombat Sub Zero Mythologies was gonna be the first in a series of kind of like mythology type games, but obviously it didn't pan out due to the critical reception and the fan reception. The fans tore this game apart. So, Sub Zero Mythologies, I couldn't do it. I couldn't force myself to sit through that game. It definitely earned its terrible reputation. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Mortal Kombat 11, again, is on the horizon, coming out very soon, and I want to make some more Mortal Kombat videos. Let me know what you guys would like to see. Again, thanks so much for watching. Peace out.